welcome to another edition of Flea Market Fantasy, the world's second greatest Bronze Age era comic book podcast. Joining me as always is new Michael, Kevin Jank.
Great Lakes fleas disperse.
Wow. Yeah, I forgot that was the catchphrase for all.
Yeah.
Disperse. Yeah,
That's right.
So yeah, Jank, tell the kids what we're reading today.
Today we're going to be reading the West Coast Avengers number 46, the first appearance of the Great Lakes Avengers.
Yes, the Great Lakes Avengers. This is from 1989. The writer and artist here is John Byrne. And I've always heard of the Great Lakes Avengers. I have no experience with them. My impression were they were just like a really brief joke. I didn't realize they had such a storied history.
Yeah, it's a long-running joke.
Yeah. Doing the research on this, I learned some important things. We'll get to that in a second. But if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. We're up to 206 subscribers. You picked up at least one, so that's good.
Slowly inching towards freedom.
I haven't been doing a lot of the little videos throughout the week, because I just, who cares, But maybe I'll get back to doing those at some point.
Yeah, that's what's cramping our style.
Yeah. But we'll see. That's a lot of work for little reward. So I don't know if we're going to keep doing it, but we'll see. But anyway, so this week, West Coast Avengers. Now, this is issue 46. I believe with issue 48, the series started to be called Avengers West Coast.
Yeah, that's right.
They switched
that really makes it sound so much better.
Yeah, I don't know why they did that. I guess I could have checked. But,
yeah, at least it's better than nowadays where they would like relaunch it as that and have a new number one. At least they just kept I appreciate that.
Yeah. All right, so the Great Lakes Avengers, it's a 5-person team, and their members consist of Mr. Immortal.
Mm-hmm.
His real name is Craig Hollis. And he's just a blonde-haired fella who can't die.
Yeah, that's right. He's got a healing factor that'll bring him back from death.
You sound excited about this guy. Like you know about him?
Not a whole lot. I'd say my first experience with this team was during the Joe Kelly Deadpool run. Obviously, Deadpool ran across. So that was kind of my first experience with them, and that was a very memorable story, which I guess we can talk about that when we get there.
Okay, talk about it now if you want.
Basically, this was a time like after the Avengers had been killed during Onslaught, and so they were calling themselves the Lightning Rods at this point, trying to ape off.
Okay.
Basically,
the Thunderbolts.
Yeah.
Right?
Yep.
Yeah, I do have a list of names that they also. It's like a running gag where they always change their name, I guess, as well. Yeah.
But Deadpool and Blind Al, the old lady, they were at the
I don't know who that is. Who is Blind Al?
See her? She was in the movies. She's a little bit different in the movies, but it's kind of a similar concept. She's like an old lady who's blind who lives with Deadpool, kind of not by her own.
Why does she live with Deadpool?
They never really fully explained her backstory. She definitely was more than meets the eye. Like, she apparently knew Captain America back in like World War II. And so I guess she was some kind of a secret agent at one point. And there was some kind of a story where Deadpool rescued her from, being captured by some government, and then just decided, that she was going to live with him and, be his roommate, whether she wanted to or not. But the movies, it's very different. They just kind of meet at the laundromat and they become roommates. But, so they were out at the aquarium one day and the lightning rods showed up. And, at one point they're trying to like teleport out of there because Deadpool's got his little belt teleporter. And, at the same time, Flatman and Doorman were basically doing like a fastball special.
Oh, okay.
And, Doorman got thrown at them. So Doorman and his portal body hit Deadpool and Blind Al just as they were teleporting, which ended up sending them back in time to, I think it was Amazing Spider-Man number 47 or something like that, some random Craven issue. And basically, like, it's cool because they kind of Forrest Gumped it, where they took the old panels and like drew Deadpool in there and like rewrote the dialogue balloons and stuff like that. And it was this whole like issue where Deadpool was like replacing Peter Parker and Blind Al was kind of replacing Aunt May, and they were living out the same story from that issue. And it's very cool. I really liked that a lot. And then they eventually, got back to their own time. But
that is a good little idea there. Yeah, you mentioned Flatman and Doorman, two other members of the Great Lakes Avengers. I guess we should have introduced them all first.
Yeah.
Flatman, his only name is Matt. That's all I got on him.
That's
Matt.
So good. Oh my God.
And he's basically like a really flat Reed Richards. He just like a ribbon. He just stretches everywhere. But he's two-dimensional. Like
very similar costume and haircut and everything.
Yeah.
He's just like a sheet of paper.
And you mentioned Doorman. His name is DeMar Davis, and he can basically make a door into any building. His body's like a little portal, like you mentioned, and people can go right through.
I think it's even they use the same Dark Force dimension as Cloak does. So basically, it's a teleportation, thing.
Man, that Dark Force dimension really comes in handy for folks like who's the other guy? What's the other guy? Shroud. Yeah. Shroud. And then there's someone else too. Remember in that Avengers book we read?
Was it Blackout?
Yeah,
That's his name?
Maybe. Yeah, I think so. Yeah, remember his head exploded with Byrne's emo?
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. All right, so yeah, we got Mr. Immortal, Doorman, Flatman, Big Bertha.
Yeah, that's right.
Now, I've been aware of Big Bertha, but I didn't know she has kind of a little secret here. Like I learned something. She's a fashion model, really.
Yeah.
And her name's
by day.
Ashley Crawford. So I guess a Cindy Crawford ripoff here, I'm guessing. And
she's rich. She's kind of financing the team.
Yeah, she funds all their adventures because she's a rich fashion model. But then when she's a member of the team, when she's Big Bertha, she can control her body mass. So she just becomes really big and fat.
Yeah. And incredibly, strong and durable as well. Like, she's got kind of the Blob and the Hulk's powers going on all at the same time.
But she's really that strong? Like a Hulk?
I mean, she takes bullets in this one, and then, she jumps up to the top of that building like the Hulk.
That is true. She does jump.
Yeah.
But, that Big Bertha. I had no idea she was actually a skinny lady, though.
Yeah.
Now, I did read somewhere that in order to get back to her skinny form, she has to vomit.
Oh.
It's a bulimia situation?
That sounds like that Gen V show. That's something they would do. I think there was a girl on there who could shrink, but she only could shrink by puking.
All right.
Yeah.
And then the final member of the team, Dinah Soar.
Yeah.
Like Dinah, D-I-N-A-H space. Soar, S-O-A-R. But
play on both Dinosaur and the actress Dinah Shore.
That is right. But she's like a pink dinosaur lady who can fly around.
Yeah. Kind of like Sauron, I guess, but I don't think she absorbs mutants' energies, their life force or anything like that.
Yeah, what is her deal? Because they said that her backstory isn't really even known, although she was in a relationship with Mr. Immortal.
Oh.
So they're making a sweet, sweet love, apparently.
Yeah.
But she's apparently she can do some stuff with psionic thing. She calms down Mr. Immortal. He tends to get crazy at times.
When he comes back to life, I guess he's kind of got roid rage. Kind of I believe this also happens when Ra's al Ghul uses his Lazarus pit. So maybe they just kind of stole that. But
also happens when I wake up from my naps. Get very angry. But yeah, she just flies around and stuff though, basically. I don't know, but they didn't say all these other ones are mutants, but they were kind of unclear about her history. She might be an alien or something. I don't know.
Yeah, she doesn't really talk. She has blank word balloons, so I guess nobody really knows much about her.
Yeah, they give her a whistle where she can communicate with a whistle. She blows a whistle. But I don't know. And I guess retroactively they added a history to the team, the Great Lakes Avengers, and there was because the way their history started was this Mr. Immortal fella, he found out he can't die, and he's like, hey, I want to be a superhero. So he started, he put ads in newspapers or something. And I think Doorman may have been the first one to respond, and they were doing stuff together.
Immortal found that out because he tried to off himself, and it did not work.
Oh, okay. So they started recruiting other people, and that's how they got these other members. And then there's also a guy named Leather Boy. Are you familiar with Leather Boy?
Can't say I've heard of Leather Boy.
All right. So this guy's basically dressed like one of the gay motorcycle guys from Police Academy. You know, with like the black leather vest, no shirt. You know, yeah, the oyster. Yeah, but and he wanted to be part of their group there, and they said, okay, but what's your power? He goes, well, I don't have any powers. And they go, well, then you can't be part of the group. So they kicked him out, and then he got very angry, and he became like their Doctor Doom, kind of like their arch enemy then.
Oh,
and
nice. I can't imagine he was a very formidable foe. He has
well,
leather.
One disturbing thing I learned, a couple of things. One's very disturbing, but it's also quite amazing. So, Squirrel Girl pals around with the Great Lakes Avengers a lot, right?
I think later on that happened. Yeah. I think I factored into that.
And I think I did not know this, but apparently her best squirrel when she started was a guy named Monkey Joe.
Oh my God, this is your dream.
I know. I couldn't believe it. There's a character, like we established here on the show, the Holy Trinity of animals, monkey, cat, squirrel. And this is a guy that's got both of them, two of the three covered. Monkey, Joe. Yeah. That's amazing. And so I'm like, well, this is immediately my favorite comic book character ever, a squirrel named Monkey Joe. I was very excited. But then I learned that this Leather Boy fella, he broke into their headquarters and he killed Monkey Joe.
Oh, no.
Yeah,
he's an enemy for life, and Mike.
I know, he like smashed him or like stepped on him or something. So he killed Monkey Joe, and then Squirrel Girl got a new best squirrel buddy, Tippy Toe or something like that. It's a girl, and she wears a thick bow in her head. Yeah. So poor Monkey Joe though, he's dead. And then I also learned that Dinah Soar later dies as well. She dies in some adventure. So then I guess they show a scene of Dinah Soar and Monkey Joe and a couple other people playing cards in the afterlife. They hang out in the afterlife. But Monkey Joe, hardly knew ye. Yeah,
man. As soon as you find out about him, he's dead.
I know, it stinks.
At least he didn't get hit by a truck like was it
Chip.
Chip? Yeah,
Green Lantern's chipmunk guy. All right, so that's basically the Great Lakes Avengers, and we mentioned they have a running gag where they kept changing the name. So they started out as the Great Lakes Avengers, and then when this issue we find out, this is their first appearance, so people started learning about them, and obviously the Avengers aren't happy that they're taking the name Great Lakes Avengers. So they then changed their name. Then they're called for a while the Midwest Avengers. Then they become the Lightning Rods, and like you mentioned, they play on the Thunderbolts. Then they become the Superhuman Warriors Operation Redistribution Division, or Sword.
Oh, wow.
Yeah.
Yep. Before there was an actual sword, I guess. Yep. They were there first.
And then they became the Great Lakes X-Men because they found out they were mutants. And they're like, oh, we should just be the Great Lakes X-Men. And that didn't go well. I guess Jean Grey heard about it, and she's like, nah, you can't be doing that. So then they became the Great Lakes Defenders.
Yeah, I feel like they're less litigious.
Well, I guess it says Mr. Immortal only briefly suggested the name Great Lakes Defenders before Doctor Strange magically influenced him into changing it. And then they were the Great Lakes Champions.
Sure.
Because they joined a poker tournament that the Thing was holding, I guess. And they actually won the tournament, so they were singing "We Are the Champions," and then they just changed their name to the Great Lakes Champions. So that's something. Huh. Then they became the Great Lakes Initiative because they eagerly signed up to the Superhuman Registration Act.
Yeah.
And they were the protectors of Wisconsin.
Ah, there we go. That makes sense. Yeah, they're in Milwaukee in this issue, so that makes a lot of sense.
They were also the Great Lakes Power Pack.
Oh, no. Of all the teams you could rip off, why Power Pack?
And America's Alpha Flight. At least according to Flatman, It's a little joke they say. I guess they're America's Alpha Flight, but they have a lot of names. So.
Yeah, they ripped off everybody. That's pretty good.
So this here issue of West Coast Avengers, like we said, John Byrne's the right artist here, and he did the rating and the drawing from issues 42 to 57, and he also did Annual 4 from 1989 to 1990, and he did some big things on the West Coast Avengers. He was the guy that made Vision white.
Yeah, that's right. That was, I think, right before this, it looked like.
Yes.
I was looking through the issues. Yeah.
Yep. Because what happened there was Vision got disassembled, and then he got put together, but his human brainwave pattern was removed. So now he was just a full-on robot.
Yeah.
And he had no emotions or anything to Scarlet Witch. And
he basically had a copy of Wonder Man's brain before.
Yeah.
That it kind of formed his brain patterns. But I guess even though Wonder Man was on the team, like, they asked him, hey, like, can Vision have your brain scans again? And he's like, no.
Well,
no.
What I read is he offered them, and then Vision said, no, I don't want them.
I think that was later on, because I think I was looking through that issue, like the previous issue, and basically Wanda was like, hey, why won't you do this? And he's like, well, I've been messed with so many times, like, I don't want to.
Oh, so maybe eventually he did change his mind, and then Vision's like, no, I don't want them now. But that's when
I'm my own man now.
That's when Vision left Scarlet Witch, and they broke up. You know, she's like,
yeah.
She finally realized she's sleeping with a robot all those years. And,
that's probably why Wonder Man didn't want him to give him his brain again. He's like, hey, if she likes a robot version of me, like, why wasn't she with the real version?
Right here, Wanda, right here. So, all right. Any other big things that John Byrne did on West Coast Avengers? I didn't read the run or anything. So, but I just know Vision is the big one that I always think of. But
yeah, that's probably a big one. Was he there when they did the whole kind of revealing that Magneto was the father of, Wanda and Pietro?
No idea.
Somewhere around here, but.
Yeah, of course that got changed so many. What's the current status of that? Like,
as far as I know, I mean, I've kind of stopped reading, but as far as I know, that's still in effect that he is not their father.
Oh, he is not their father. Okay.
Yeah. The High Evolutionary did some bullshit, and it was not actually him. That whole thing was a lie. But I think just Polaris is his daughter currently.
All right. So that's the backstory for this here issue. Why don't you describe the cover for us, Jack?
All right. So it's kind of just your classic heroes running into action shot. We got the West Coast Avengers up top, not Avengers West Coast yet. Must have changed that for like alphabetizing purposes. Then we got the corner box has like shots of a couple of the West Coast Avengers. We got Hawkeye there, who's not even on the team at this point apparently.
Yeah, that's right. He quit the team because they brought in U.S. Agent.
Yeah, the government forced him on the team. He's like, nope.
Now, I just read something when I was doing research for this issue, and I was looking through the characters, and that Marvel fandom page, they have the characters and their real names listed next to them, and they said U.S. Agent's real name is Jack Daniels. That cannot be right. I mean, that cannot.
John Walker, sure.
Yeah. Yes. Exactly. Why did they have Jack?
Johnny Walker. You got the wrong. All
right. Anyway, so corner box Hawkeye, and who else?
We got Scarlet Witch there with her classic little headdress thing, the little inverted kind of V or whatever that is. We got Tigra looking pretty normal there, but apparently she's gone pretty feral by this point.
She's full on cat in this issue.
Yeah. And then we got Wonder Man, that selfish bastard Wonder Man who won't give up his brain.
With his dopey haircut and red eyes. Look at that guy.
Yeah.
What is he
nice.
doing?
But then we got there's like a text box that says Great Lakes Avengers Assemble ? Exclamation point. So that's pretty cool. They're like, I don't know. We're just trying this out. And so it's like kind of nighttime and there's like a skyscraper in the background and some grass. But we got the team just running into action. We got Dinah Soar flying in the air. She's all pink and has kind of like a white stripe on like her belly. Kind of like Barney, I guess, has his, green spot in the belly. I guess that's what counts as her clothes. I don't know. Then we got Big Bertha in her classic yellow, like one-piece swimsuit. She's probably from Pittsburgh originally, I'm thinking.
No joke. Our buddy the Ed said that Pittsburgh, the women are so ugly they invented the one-piece bathing suit. That's what he always says. But yeah, Big Bertha is a very large woman. Very large.
Yeah, she's kind of like the female version of the Blob. Same outfit, essentially, except his is, black with like a yellow stripe, and hers is just all yellow. So they have similar haircuts too, so it's very strange. John Byrne must have been a big fan of the Blob. Then we got Doorman. He's kind of flying through the air a little bit. He basically just looks like, black costume Spider-Man, except with no, nothing else except for the eye holes. He got like white eye holes.
Yeah, no white spider on his chest or anything, just all black with the white eyes. Yeah.
Very simple, easy to draw. Basically a silhouette with eyes. Then we got Mr. Immortal in the middle, just kind of running, leading the way, with his crazy blonde hair. And he's got like a blue, red, and white costume. The top part's kind of reddish. It's kind of like Speedball is what he reminds me of a little bit.
Yeah.
Very Speedball-esque. But then he's got like a blue shirt, red gloves and boots, and there's eyes all over him, these white eyes, and the white eye on his chest has
white eye like the letter I, not like the EYEI, the letter I
for him. Yeah. He's got him on his gloves and his legs, and and then a big one on his chest, and it says Mr. on that one, so he's Mr. Immortal. And then we got Flatman kind of just ribboning around the place. He basically looks like Mr. Fantastic, except two-dimensional.
So there it is, the Great Lakes Avengers. And John Byrne also drew that cover, of course. That's how I look at that. And this John Byrne, I love John Byrne during his X-Men run. He's one of my favorites. And then, but as we've experienced on the show, like the older he got, the worse his art became.
Yeah, that's for sure.
But like this is still pretty good John Byrne here. It's not as good as the 70s, but this is still very good. So.
Yeah, this honestly, I don't know if it was the inks, but it didn't look like John Byrne at times. Like some panels, you could definitely tell, that's classic John Byrne, but sometimes it looked very different to me.
It was inked by Mike Macklin. Don't know him? So, all right, we open it up and we see Stan Lee presents the West Coast Avengers franchise is the name of this issue. And the first splash page is just a big close-up of Mr. Immortal's big, dopey, grinning face hanging upside down. And he says, "Hi there." So that'll get you into the book. And then in the next page, we had another big panel of him kind of looking like Spider-Man, hanging upside down by like some little ropes here. And they're in the middle
it's kind of an acrobat, I guess is the impression here. He
doesn't
seem to have a lot of skills, but
he jumps
it's a pretty good course. Like it would make sense. Like this should be a good superhero. You could just, keep coming back from death, but I feel like it's mostly on him. He's just kind of incompetent. So it mostly ends up, he just keeps getting killed in stupid ways and then coming back. It's just a joke more than anything.
Yeah, he's hanging upside down like Spider-Man, and they're in the middle of a bank robbery, and there's some guys, ski masks and guns, and they got all the employees tied up, and one guy's wearing a Milwaukee Brewers jacket. So, he's a big fan of the Brewers. And big Robin Yount fan. A good baseball reference. Jank loves baseball, so when I can put in a baseball reference.
That was just for me.
And they start shooting at old Mr. Immortal, and he's jumping around like a little monkey Joe maybe. And he's getting out of all the bullets. It's like, you can't hit me. And he's kicking him and he's punching him. But then the one guy says, "Hey, what we got to do here is I'll shoot to his left to push him to the right, but then you shoot him on the right." So that's what we'll do. All right?
Yeah. These thugs, even though they're in Milwaukee, apparently they've dealt with superheroes enough to know, like, hey, here's what you do.
So that's what they do, and sure enough, it works. And the second guy just blasts old Mr. Immortal right in the chest with his machine gun, and that guy's dead. They're like, "Yeah, killed that guy." That wasn't too bad.
They got the leader. This team's going to be easy now.
So what happens now, Jack?
We see a couple of the hostages are getting scooped up in what looks like a poured ribbon, essentially. But we find out that's Flatman. He's grabbing him up, and then Big Bertha comes barreling through the wall. And then Doorman is just kind of appearing, and he doesn't even fully materialize. He just kind of is, I guess, providing a teleportation source for Dinah Soar, who comes flying in. And she basically just flies around and confuses them. And then they try to shoot at Big Bertha, and she just kind of absorbs the bullets in her flab and then pops them out, shooting them right back at the crook.
Yeah.
I think Fat Benatar, same thing for her encore.
And Flatman then ties up another of the goons. And then Mr. Immortal, sure enough, we don't know who this guy is at this point. We think, oh, that guy died. But no, he reaches in, grabs the other guy, and he's back. He's back from the dead. And he just starts beating the holy hell out of this guy. And he's about to stomp him to death. And Flatman has to wrap him up to keep him from killing the guy.
Mm-hmm.
And then Dinah Soar comes in and hypnotizes him and calms him down.
With her weird blank word balloons.
Yep. So then, now that Mr. Immortal's, is under control now, he goes out to meet the press and all the people outside the bank, all the news crews and everything. And he says, yep, you can just call us the Great Lakes Avengers. But somewhere there's old Clinton Barton, old Hawkeye. He's at some motel and he's got that on his TV and he's taking a shower and he hears that. And he's like, hey, what the hell? And he comes running in. Great Lakes Avengers? Who are these clowns? They can't be taking our name. But then, before he can even
name my own franchise in a different part of the country,
before he can even call anybody about it, he gets a knock at the door. And who's at the door, Jack?
Oh, it's Bobby Morse, the Mockingbird, his wife. Yeah, I guess they're still married technically.
Yeah, at this point, on the Flea Market Fantasy, we did a Hawkeye issue where it was a limited series, and I think at the end of that issue, they decided to get married, if I'm recalling correctly. They're in that little heart-shaped tub and all. So yeah, here the marriage is kind of on the rocks.
Yeah, things are not going too great. He, quit the team in a huff when the U.S. agent came aboard. I guess she's still on the team, technically. She's trying to talk him to coming back and give their marriage another try. Because after, I believe you guys talked about that issue of West Coast Avengers before, where bad things happened to her with the whole family, right? And apparently Hawkeye did not react well to that, and it just kind of drove a wedge between them.
Yeah,
and even though he's been a dick about it, she's still like, "Oh, let's give it another chance."
Yeah, we did a West Coast Avengers issue on here before where they go back in time, and there's a guy named what was his name? The Phantom Rider? Is that it?
Phantom Rider, yeah.
They go back to the Old West. He kidnaps Mockingbird and basically it's implied that he rapes her, right?
Yeah. She's like mind controlled into doing it. Yeah. So yeah.
And she did not appreciate how Hawkeye reacted to this. He just didn't. She's like, you should have been taking care of me instead of worrying about other nonsense. So also look at these panels here. The Bobby Morse. John Byrne, one of the things he was doing at this point in time is every lady would have like a lock of hair that would cascade down between her eyes and curl up there. Like it was a running thing he constantly did. And I remember She-Hulk, he always drew She-Hulk with that little lock of hair down. So it's kind of annoying. Yeah, it's kind of annoying.
A little unnecessary. Especially when sometimes the eyes are a little offset, like they're not, there's too much space between them because he had to have room for that lock of hair.
Yeah. Gets a little annoying. But yeah, so they're arguing it, but like you said, she still wants to try and save their marriage because, dang it, she still loves him.
Aww.
Now we come back to a West Coast Avengers mansion, I guess. Is that what they call it? Sure.
Sure. Mansion, West Coast.
Yeah. And they don't have a Jarvis. They have some old lady. What's her name?
Mrs. Hages? I don't know how you pronounce that.
Heyges. Yeah, Hages.
Yeah.
But U.S. agent is at the table there, and she's cooking him up some breakfast or whatever, and he's like, "Oh, this is great. Yeah, no, you're just like my mom used to cook or whatever." And then there's a squeak. This place has got rats. This compound.
Yeah. What kind of mansion is this?
So this mouse goes running through the kitchen, and Tiger comes out of nowhere trying to chase the mouse. And she's full on cat. And U.S. agent grabs her by the hair, and he's like, "Hey, what are you doing there, Tiger? Calm down. You're supposed to be a lady, not a cat." And she just gets running off like a cat.
And then she seemingly scratches the crap out of his face, but the next panel he's fine. So I don't know what the heck's going on there.
Yeah, I guess she's just flipping out, but she wasn't actually clawing him.
Yeah. It's all air miming.
Now, do you know why she's been losing her mind here? Like she's becoming more of a cat? Or
no, I'm assuming, I mean, that it seems to always happen with anybody who has like powers. They always end up getting more bestial as it goes along.
But if you look at the panel of her slinking away, there's that lock of hair between the eyes again.
It's true.
It's a John Byrne classic.
At least the old woman didn't have it. She's just got bangs.
Yeah. But the old lady's like, "Hey, we got mice here. I just thought that's what Tiger did. I thought that was her job. She took care of the mice." He's like, "No, she's a lady. She's not a cat.
She's part of the team. Our arch enemy shouldn't be the mice in our mansion.
She can't be running around eating raw mice. It's weird."
Yeah, he's like, something has to be done about this.
So now we cut to an establishing shot of an airplane, and we see old Bobby Morris and Clint Barton. They're flying in to see what's going on with this Great Lakes Avengers nonsense. You got to investigate this,
Make sure they're on the up and out.
So now we get a big panel of the Great Lakes Avengers saying, "Avengers assemble," because there's a building downtown, and were they in Milwaukee? I guess, yeah, right.
Yep.
And there's all kind of weird light show going up on the top of this building. I'm like, hey, this is something we should investigate as the Avengers. So
Northern Lights. We got to put a stop to this.
That's why they're America's Alpha Flight. They investigate. Let's get the Northern Lights. So a dinosaur flies up there to see at the top of the building what's going on. And then Mr. Immortal says, "Hey, Doorman, get Flatman into the building. Maybe he can go in through take the stairs or whatever and see what's going on." And so he does that. And
I like that he stands against the glass door so that Flatman can just go through. Like, I don't think you need to be standing by the door if you're teleporting him, first off. Second off,
I don't think that's what I don't think he teleports people, does he? I think that's what his deal is. He stands next to a wall and he can, like,
he can only get you out of things. He can't actually teleport you.
Yeah, I think that's all it is. It's like he just creates like a little gateway through physical objects, I think.
It's a little bit.
Yeah. Little limited. But, so would Flatman even need him? Couldn't he just like go underneath the door, like a little crack in the door?
You could just go through the little crack in the door.
But it's old Flatman's going through the building. So now we see Dinosaur at the top and we see a shadowy figure with a bow and arrow. And, then Dinosaur gets hit with like a bunch of strings and ropes tying her up. And she takes out her little whistle and blows her whistle. And Mr. Immortal and Big Bertha realize, oh no, she needs help. Couldn't they just see she needed help by looking up? It seemed like she was tangled up in ropes. But
well, I mean, she's probably on the roof at this point.
She's hanging over the edge though. Like, see that? But anyway, the whistle comes in handy. So she blows the whistle, and Big Bertha puts Mr. Immortal on her back. She runs and jumps like the Hulk and goes flying up to the top of the building. But she just gets to the edge of the roof, and she grabs on. And Mr. Immortal hops onto the roof. And then he tells Big Bertha, all right, you get out of here. Why doesn't Big Bertha just climb up to the top of the roof?
Yeah, it doesn't make a lot of sense.
Then Big Bertha... Yeah, she's right there. Just climb up, Big Bertha. Or maybe she can't do a pull-up because, she's so fat.
Yeah.
But she just lets go, and she falls down to the pavement below. And she's laughing. Yeah.
Yep.
She's a big fat lady. She can't get hurt. So what happens with Mr. Immortal? And it's Hawkeye on top of the roof there, if you haven't figured it out yet.
I thought it was Green Arrow. So Hawkeye says, the Avengers, He's like, we're not too happy about what you guys are doing here. He's like, grab yourself some floor and I'll teach you the facts of, and Mr.
Yeah,
Morris
what does that mean exactly? Grab yourself some floor and I'll teach you. That sounds a little prison-ish. Like,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying? Like,
grab your ankles.
Yeah, I don't know. I guess he expected him to just sit down and he was going to tell him the story, but it sounds a little weird. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah. But then Mockingbird comes in. She's also doing another flying kick, and she kicks Mr. Immortal right in the jaw. So there you go. On the other hand, I can sling a boot with the best of them.
Yeah.
So they're like, hey, how about you just, have a seat? We'll talk this over. And Mr. Immortal's like, nope, you're wrong, dead wrong. And he starts backflipping and backflips himself right off the roof.
Yeah, I guess the whole thing, he thinks they're imposters. He doesn't think they're really Hawkeye and Mockingbird.
Right.
Yeah, he's like, those are just some costumes, you guys. But it's kind of ridiculous. How many ladies look like Mockingbird jumping around? Come on, it's Mockingbird. Look, right there, that's Mockingbird. But he's like, no.
How many other people could do that?
These are just costumes. You're not really the West Coast Avengers. So yeah, then he just takes off. Like he said, he just flips backwards off the building. He falls kills himself. And Mockingbird's like, what the hell? And look at she's looking shocked there. Little lock of hair between the eyes. Lock of hair.
Yep.
But I like the panel of her looking down at the ground there, because the ground between, like, it's a courtyard in the center of like this building kind of around it. And the ground is all black, and then the silhouette of his dead body is in white. I like that.
Yeah, pretty cool. And this, I guess, kind of triggers her because she's like, oh, he fell to his death just like Phantom Rider. So she
that's right.
Bounces down.
Yeah, Phantom Rider, like the big climactic scene took place at the top of this cliff, and he fell off the cliff and died. Yeah.
I think she probably just let him, or just like pushed him, probably.
But yeah, she just jumps right down those buildings like Monkey Joe. Yeah.
Mr. Immortal.
I'm gonna try to make a Monkey Joe reference every week now.
Oh, perfect. He's gonna win Best Monkey in the Fleas, even though we're not reading Joe about it.
When she gets down to the bottom, she's like, "Holy hell, this guy's dead!" But Flatman says, "Don't worry about it. He'll be fine." And Flatman's not as dopey as Mr. Immortal, so yeah, he figures this is the real Mockingbird and the real Hawkeye. And, so they're like, is there some place we can go and chat this out? And they're like, yeah, let's go back to our headquarters. And it's like this fancy apartment where, and it's Big Bertha.
Bertha's place.
Yeah. Yeah, and we see Big Bertha come in, and she's smoking hot now. And they're like, what? I thought you were a big fat lady. She's like, nope. I'm a fashion model. And I guess they recognize her as the fashion model that she is.
Yeah. I've seen you on like 1 million Vogue covers.
Because if it's one thing Hawkeye loves, it's reading Vogue.
It's local quizzes about how to please your man.
So they're just chatting it up about, if they can be a superhero team or not, that kind of stuff. And,
yeah, it talks about how they got together a little bit. They leave out the part about Leather Boy. They're like, we don't want to tell the embarrassing chapter.
Yeah, I think that was added later.
Yeah. Hawkeye's kind of like, he's like, well, you know what? Your powers aren't really that stupid, so maybe you can actually have potential here.
He says you got to work on your names, Yeah. Your names are kind of dumb.
Aren't great, but.
Yeah, because again, Hawkeye just left the West Coast Avengers, so he's looking for a new team. You're just like, hey, wait a minute. Maybe I can whip you bums into shape, and we can be a superhero team.
Come out to the Great Lakes, Hawkeye.
Yeah, he says, but with the proper management, my management, this could be a heck of a team. And now we cut.
They need Dicka.
I don't know where she is, but this is Scarlet Witch.
Yep. I think she's at Avengers West Coast Mansion, I would assume.
Oh, that's right. She is part of this team, yeah. I was thinking she's still part of the old team. But
he's looking for Vision, and the butler's like, no, I haven't seen him since 2 days ago when he appeared on television. This is the Avengers Spotlight number 23.
What do you think? You think he was on an episode of The Love Boat? Or why was he on television?
It only helped.
He falls in love with a toaster. Well, yeah, he gives her a letter, and she's reading the letter. Dear Miss Maximoff, it was with great distress that we heard of the recent tribulations suffered by yourself and your husband. Our robotics staff has, for several years now, been working on a series of projects. And then her thumb's in the way. But artificial intelligence very nearly approximates that of your husband. If there's a way so basically they want to build her a robot that she can have sex with again. Is that
yeah. They're going to fix him up.
Yeah.
Back what he lost.
Jeremiah Random, Dean of Robotics.
Yeah, he sounds trustworthy.
Yeah. I don't know. Look at that signature. What's going on there? What is that exactly?
Yeah. It's like he signed his first name and then the rest was just like, I don't have time for the
I just like to make a big X. Whenever someone asks me to sign something, I grab it in my whole hand like, a knife, a stick or something. Then I just make a big crude X.
I made my mark.
Sorry, then next issue, The Ancient Evil. So that's it.
Ooh.
But first appearance of the Great Lakes Avengers. What do you think, Jank?
I thought it was pretty good. They're kind of presented as a joke, but less of a joke than they would appear later, I believe. So they're at least somewhat taking them seriously here, which is kind of cool because in theory they don't have the worst power sets. This isn't like Mystery Men where it's just like here's a guy who throws forks at people or
yeah.
hits people with shovels. Where it's like
these are legit powers.
Yeah. If you train these people correctly, I think they could be a legit team. Like, you pretty much got a Hulk. You got your strong guy, which every team needs. You pretty much have Mr. Fantastic, just 2-dimensional. I mean, that's good. Mr. Immortal, you can't die. It's kind of Wolverine-esque. That's cool.
Yeah.
But they're just kind of goofballs. They just can't seem to get their shit together.
Yeah, I liked them, and I like the whole Big Bertha thing. I had no idea that was her history, like fashion model who can make herself big and fat. No idea. Dinah Soar is the one that really kind of sticks out as like, what are we doing here?
Yeah. I mean, it's not much of a character, but I guess every team needs their angel. We're just like, they just fly around. I don't know.
This is weird.
There to catch people, I guess.
But just seeing, like, what is she? An alien? A dinosaur? What's going on? I don't know. But
he's Mr. Immortal's lover.
So, what if she's like a praying mantis, or what every time they make the love, she kills them or something?
Yeah. Oh man, she found her perfect mate then. Yeah. That's why she sticks around.
But I like the team. Could have used some more Monkey Joe. I had no idea. I had no idea Monkey Joe existed, Jack. No idea.
Yeah, it seems right up your alley.
But yeah, I like this. I like the team. I like this book. Byrne's not the best writer in terms of like just like whenever Hawkeye and Mockingbird were first talking in the hotel room, that was very awkward. Like some of the language being used by Mockingbird was just I thought it was.
Hawkeye seems like a real jerk.
So I'm not a huge fan of John Byrne, the writer, but the art here is strong, and the structure of the issue is fine.
Writer or is the hairstylist?
Yeah, but you open up at the action scene, get to see them all using their powers. That's classic, and then you get the personal stuff with Hawkeye and Mockingbird, the internal conflicts going on there, and you get a little teaser at the end with Scarlet Witch. So the structure of the issue is fine, perfect. Just like the nuts and bolts of the writing is a little not the best. But, he's an artist. He's not really known as a writer.
Yeah, the weakest I would say was the U.S. agent and Tigra stuff. But, I mean, it might be setting up for something later down the line. So
yeah, it seems like they're going somewhere with that, though,
Yeah.
I do remember I did have like early West Coast Avengers issue. This is 46, but I think in the first 10 issues, there's a storyline where Tiger went back. She found a whole race of cat people. Do you remember this? And like, because doesn't she come from like there's some sort of jungle ritual that made her into a cat or something. I don't know. But then they went to some ancient land. I don't know if it was an ancient land. I don't know. But there's a bunch of cat people is what I'm trying to get at. So maybe this is still like a continuation of even that. Like she realized, oh, I'm more of a cat than I am a lady. I don't know. But,
yep. Now she marks her territory everywhere.
Or maybe someone like dropped a flower pot on her head. The old TV shows, that's usually what happened. And then they go a little wonky. But,
yep.
Yeah, the art here was strong. It was solid burn. I liked it.
Yeah, there's some panels that really look very John Byrne-esque. Honestly, the Great Lakes Avengers to me didn't look super John Byrne-y for the most part, especially that like first page where we get the big shot of Mr. Immortal's face. But
I think what it is the inks are the lines are thick, a lot of thick inking here. If you look at it, like when you think of John Byrne, you usually think of Terry Austin as his inker.
Yeah.
So anything besides Terry Austin's going to make it look weird. But yeah, it's not bad though, not bad. So yeah, not a lot to complain about here, Jake. You know.
Yeah. Yeah, pretty an issue for the most part.
That is real solid. So Great Lakes Avengers, then you mentioned they popped up in the Deadpool. Were they? Where else did they usually pop up then? Just random.
I know they. Yeah, I'm trying to think. They did have somewhat recently, maybe 4 or 5 years ago. I know there was a Great Lakes Avengers limited series. I think it went like 5 issues or so. And other than that, I'm sure probably Squirrel Girl, anything that's got a more comedic tone, I'm sure they bring the Great Lakes Avengers in. Or probably backup stories, you know, when they do like compilation things, I'm sure they're, you know, popping up in there a lot too. But definitely Deadpool, you know, anything that's comedic, they're going to bring the Great Lakes Avengers around eventually.
Yeah, Squirrel Girl definitely hangs out with them a lot. So.
Yeah.
Trying to look any other interesting notes here about them. Squirrel Girl was one of their recruits, so was Monkey Joe. And she joined the team in GLA number 2, 2005. So GLA is Great Lakes Avengers. So I guess that must be that limited series or whatever. And some other recruits, Tippy Toe. Oh, that's the other squirrel. All right. Grasshopper. Grasshopper? Doug Taggart. Oh, he was killed soon after joining. So a lot of people die. Then there's another grasshopper, a second grasshopper. Deadpool. Deadpool was a recruit to the team. How about that?
Look at that.
The Deadpool GLI Summer Fun Spectacular, September 2001.
Oh, I think I have that actually. I don't know if I ever actually read it, but I'm pretty sure I have it.
And there's a GLX Xmas special. So, yeah, it seems like they did a lot of special things. There's another grasshopper. There's been like so many grasshoppers. Oh, he's the final grasshopper is the first grasshopper to survive a battle with the team. So I guess it's like the drummer in Spinal Tap. It's Grasshopper. Bring him in, he dies all the time.
Wow.
So, yeah, I'm intrigued by the Great Lakes Avengers.
Why shouldn't like the Great Lakes have their own team? Just keep spreading out. Keep franchising. Everywhere needs some Avengers.
Hey, Jank, get a load of this. There's a live-action half-hour television sitcom series starring a team based on the Great Lakes Avengers and the New Warriors. They're going to like combine them into one team. It was in development by Marvel Television ABC Studios as part of the Marvel Cinematic Universe.
Oh, I think that was the show that what's her name? That girl from the cell phone commercials was going to be
AT&T commercials. Yeah, I love that. I love that girl. Yeah, in July 2017, the New Warriors cast was officially announced to be Milana Weintraub, and that's her as Squirrel Girl. Derek Thieler as Craig Hollis, Mr. Immortal. I have no idea who Derek Thieler is.
Huh.
Jeremy Tardy as Night Thrasher. Callum Worley as Speedball.
Nice.
Matthew Moy as Microbe. Don't know who that is.
Microbe.
Kate Comer as Debris. And Keith David as Ernest Vigman. No idea who most of those people are.
Wow.
The show received a direct-to-series order with 10 episodes to debut on Freeform in 2018, co-produced by ABC's Signature, and a pilot episode was produced. On November 1st, 2017, however, it was announced that the series would no longer air on Freeform, and after an unsuccessful search for other network partners, this series was considered dead.
Yep. Yeah, I remember that. Yeah.
Hey, but Craig Hollis, Mr. Immortal, would eventually make his live-action debut in She-Hulk Attorney at Law, portrayed by David Pasquesi. I don't know who that is. Yeah, I didn't watch that She-Hulk show. Did you watch that She-Hulk show?
No, never planned to.
I tried. It was bad.
You were a brave little toaster.
Sorry, Great Lakes Avengers. I don't know, pretty cool. Seemed like a fun little group.
I liked it.
Yeah. I'll probably go 8 out of 10, Jack. It's just, it's a solid book. It's just nothing to complain about. No?
Yeah, I mean, this was a good era for the West Coast Avengers, I think, and they were doing some cool things with this new team, so I like it. I think I'll also give it an 8.
Yeah. Yeah, the writing was solid. The art was really strong. And you get to introduce to a whole new crop of superheroes. So what's not to like?
Mm-hmm.
Maybe more Monkey Joe. That's all. It could have been better.
I think we're still even a couple years before Squirrel.
Yeah. Yeah, I don't think Monkey Joe comes around for several years yet, but we'll see.
Yeah.
All right. So next week here on the big show, I was struggling coming up with something. And then I remembered a book I mentioned here on the show a couple of weeks ago, and you seemed excited about it. So next week we're going to go with Jonah Hex, issue 66. Mario Lemieux from 1982. So Jonah Hex, issue 66 from 1982. Now I have no concept of Jonah Hex, except I knew he was like a Western cowboy. Half his face is messed up.
Yeah. That's mainly what I remember. Even though I saw the movie, that's really my only takeaway.
I did not see the movie. Wasn't it Josh Brolin, Thanos, as Jonah Hex?
Yeah. Yeah, it sure was.
So I assumed there was superhero elements in this as well. Like there's like arch enemies and maybe not superpowered, but just like, but it was looking through trying to pick an issue was rough. But looking through everything, it's just a standard Western story. Yeah.
Yeah. That's what I always thought it was. I think in more recent years, they've tried to, bring him forward in time or something to have adventures with superheroes, maybe cross over a little more. But I think back then, I think it was just a straight up Western.
Yeah. So I'm not as excited about it, but I figured what the hell, I might as well read it. I've never read it. So the next week,
at least maybe, spectral elements or something, some weird ghosts or something.
Yeah. Something, but nope, not really. Standard Western. No. And pretty much, I flipped through a bunch of issues, and it seems like at the end, the final page is pretty much all the same. There's a standoff, he pulls out guns and shoots people, and then he walks off into the sunset. That seems to be the way a lot of the issues are.
Oh, wow.
Pretty standard ending.
More repetitive and annoying. This or Archie? I don't know.
So next week, we're going back to the Old West. Jonah Hex. All right. So until then, again, if you're watching on YouTube, please like and subscribe. And until next week, don't get any jank on you.